Welcome back. The fight before Christmas continues right before your very eyes. It's tied up 1-1 here in the winners match. Spawning in the top right corner of the map, we have CM Storm's blue Terran player Polt.
In the bottom left, as the pink Zerg, it's Kane.
So I think the one thing about that last game I really want to touch on, because I think it's probably going to come into effect again for Deadwing. Kane did such a good job at shutting Polt down from drops. It got to the point where Polt was kind of doing that weird A-move scenario that Terran players sometimes find themselves in. You're clearing up creep, looking for the Baneling connects, whatever. But that was, like, I feel more of a consequence than a choice, because did he even get like a single drop off? I think he unloaded like one Marine in Kane's main that whole game.
Yes, exactly, one Marine. It was 3 drops and only one of them did almost nothing.
Yeah, they really didn't do much. And I really think, like, I don't know if that's prediction or luck. I feel like it's a little bit of a mixture of both. Kane's skill to look for it, knowing that it's Polt. This is a guy who, if you give him an inch, he'll go a mile, especially when it comes to drops. So he definitely came prepared for that game.
Yeah, it was very impressive. I mean, Polt played a very usual Polt-style game, and he actually did really well against it. I mean, maybe Polt's a little rusty with his normal style games. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna throw down, like, be like, you know, I tried it once, so let me go back to something really, really fun, because it is the winners match. Whoever loses this is gonna face the move skills for the decider. But yeah, I mean, it's cross spawn on Deadwing. Feeling pretty good for Kane after that last game, anyways.
Well, I think I'm just trying to think, like, for Kane's sake, it's been a while since I've actually seen a good Deadwing map. This one does feel like it does get vetoed a lot of the time, and while we make jokes about being King, Sejong, Overgrowth, and Merry-Go-Round over and over and over, that is the case of things. As far as this map goes, though, I mean, it's not nearly as drop accessible, but it's still very droppable, that's for sure. So for Polt's sake, Kane's going to have to be a little bit, for Kane's sake, he's going to have to be a little bit on the ball once again with catching those drops. But at the same time, it's a lot harder than Merry-Go-Round to have that much spread, have those many Overlords, have that many Mutalisks dancing around the map. So I'm kind of thinking, like, if Polt just plays a normal game again, it might actually play better just because of the map, more so than the way that last game went.
It's also a little hard to counterattack on this map, as most of your bases, up until 4 bases, are pretty much connected. Plant your forces down in one spot, and you're covering most, not all of them. So that's really what brought Kane in that game. Otherwise, it was a normal game where a couple of good Widowmine hits probably would have won Polt the game, but those counterattacks really sealed the fate, I guess. And of course, that end game Ultra's attack, which just absolutely swamped Polt. But I guess the map is actually, despite being long cross positions. That's a good point. Maybe I put it back in Polt's favor. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, again, this is a lot of this dancing back and forth. I think Polt gets a lot of favoritism just because he's had a lot more notoriety, but Kane should never be underestimated. Either way, it's not exactly like he's rushing out a fast third. He knows that Reapers are out, so he goes for that quick speed. He wants to be able to dance with at least one Reaper, if not more. You know, we saw or we're probably going to see Hellion Banshee yet again. Or actually,
it's a tank drop.
I was going to say, yeah, he didn't swap this over. So 4 Marines, 1 tank. We've seen this this area abused quite a bit. Kane's certainly got to expect this coming. But it's funny, again, going back to this point, I cast a game with Fenner. While you're going to try and take these rocks down, usually don't have them down quite in time. We saw some Zerg player actually put down, and sadly it was like a no-name Zerg player, so I don't really remember who it was, like a spine crawler, or at least I think it was. Boy, this is insulting if it wasn't. A spine crawler go down right here. Well, this didn't stop the tank drop. What it does do is, with the weird dynamic of the terrain here, the tank actually can't get close enough to shoot the mineral line while that spine crawler is alive. So he's able to dance the spine crawler back and forth to keep the tank from ever really touching the drone line, while he took the time to knock down those rocks. So, well, this tank drop is a scary move. Yeah, he just comes in, gets a kill, and leaves. What a dick. Well, this tank drop is scary, and it's definitely something that should never be ignored. I've seen really creative ways to deal with it.
I definitely like the counterattack the best. I mean, I know we all go back to Ryung, which is like 6 months old now, but that was the first time I saw the counterattack, and it was obviously very effective. Ryung lost that game. But ever since then, whenever a Zerg threatened to counterattack, it's either like won the game or done like a lot of damage.
I wonder if Polt's going to be deterred by this drop, by the way. He's seen just how heavy Kane's been working at these rocks.
You can't...
You don't
Possibly.
have to commit is the thing. Like this tank isn't like, oh my god, he went all in and built 2 tanks.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that did cost him a little bit more. However, it looks like he will get here, and as predicted, it's just before the rocks are finished, so he might be able to snipe off these lings before they quite take it down.
The thing is that you can also go to the ledge on the other base, the other third, and attack some of Kane's droning. So it's never a bad thing to do. He is getting more than just 1 tank. He got 2 tanks. I think this is the 3rd tank now on the way. Maybe going into a tank style. You know, you can get 1 behind this because you are afraid of that counterattack. You don't have a lot of units behind this, and you don't have those Hellions that usually deal very effectively with the Speedlings. But to get 2 more? I think it's 3 more. It's definitely tank, like, composition.
As long as Kane doesn't actually mine off this base, he's not really in danger from the tank for the time being.
Ooh.
As funny as that is
Polt
to consider.
Gets another tick. It's going to bring up to a total of 4. And with this, I mean, he's got to be looking towards abusing that 3rd from Kane. The fact that Kane took that 3rd in particular, he's going to kind of... Oh my god, he's going to go mech. Or that option.
Well, I was going to say, that's apparently two factories getting slapped down. Still no tech love on the barracks. I guess it makes sense, but we just weren't expecting it because this is such a non-typical thing for Polt to do. Mech on Deadwing. I would normally start saying, like, oh, this is great. He gets off 4 bases, he pulls a Gumiho, he goes battle cruisers and wins. But let's not forget, Kane's actually not only a pretty good Zerg player, he's a really good Swarm Host Zerg player. So for Polt's sake, this may not actually be the best option for him. Cool little marine block on that mineral line.
Well, it still does kind of come down to trying to abuse that 3rd. Even with bio, it's still hard to get that far forward without being attacked.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're going to be able to set up this really sick siege tank line here too, put some Hellbats by the thing. I mean,
yeah.
Hardly over.
Blue Flame first. Oh wait, is he gonna go for like some type of weird like biomech? Now the bio doesn't have any upgrades, but he's still producing out of that barracks.
I think it's just because he doesn't have any proper anti-air. Like there's no Thors out. He doesn't have time to get Thors out, so really worried about Mutalisks because you want to get a lot of Marines.
I guess that's true, but usually we just see a scan.
That's true too. I don't know. Cover your bases, right? Play it safe. Kane, by the way, I don't believe has identified this as mech yet. He did lose that Overlord quite early. That Viking picked it off, and let's be honest. Again, this was Polt. This is like when this is like the reverse of 4GG. Like 4GG always plays mechs. When he fights in the finals, he goes bio. Surprise, surprise, he wins. No one expected it. Kind of the same for Polt. I feel like Kane's expecting bio because why not? It's Polt. We never ever see him play mech, and this is really gonna catch him off guard.
Because even incorporating Medivacs into this, I mean, obviously they're gonna help out the Hellbats, but a little more rare in TVZ to drop Hellbats or use them for Hellbats than like TVT, where dropping Hellbats is awesome and really cool and really fun. All
right, so still has no idea this is coming. This push is pretty darn big, and I guess Banelings are gonna be necessary for wiping out the Hellbats as well as the Marines, but I don't know if he's gonna have enough to deal with the tanks.
This is off of only 2 bases, so this is happening a lot quicker than Kane was imagining. Kane's down by about 30 supply, and not very sufficient supply either.
Tanks reveal these Zerglings, so we gotta get back towards the main. They're not gonna do anything out here. He needs some Banelings for this too. I don't know if he's gonna be able to buy himself enough time to morph any in. Roaches are gonna pop in a second. He's started this Spire, but it's, oh my god, it's never gonna finish. Or rather, the Spire finishes with the Mutas. I just feel like they're never gonna come out.
Even if they do, there's so many Marines.
Yeah, and there's only so much gas. You can't really make more than 3 or 4.
Oh, that tank positioning is almost death as it is. Like, you always want to catch this when they're out on the map, not when they're up against ledges.
If he had his second rocks down, he might actually be able to get around this, right? But that's not the case. The Hellbats still getting a little bit wasted here in the front lines. Wasted. But trying to keep his Roach Warren alive. He's going to roll down to the bottom of this ramp, and if the Roaches had speed, they can certainly pounce on these tanks, but they don't, and they won't, and he's going to be driven back into his natural yet again. This Roach Warren's not going to get that Roach speed off. Makes these Roaches so ineffective versus this mech army. And this push, oh, this push is devastating Kane.
Those Marines are adding so much, and he's still producing them as well. I mean, this is, it's an all-in, right? They're, like, the upgrades have stopped. The 3rd CC is not on the way. He's only on 3 factories of production, which, and, usual TVZ is not a whole lot. He can maybe lose a base. If he can get pushed out of his army, he'll still be okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. He's still got the base here on the left for the time being. If this base does go down, that sucks. But what really sucks is this is where he put all his tech. Like, had the Spire been in his main, had the Roach Warren been in his main, Like, this would not have been a problem the same way it is right now. The smallest amount of focus fire is going to make these tanks so effective versus the banelings. Rocks finally do get taken down, by the way, so he's got a little bit more maneuverability, but not by much.
The upgrade did just finish. Now it's, you know, 1 attack for both units and +2 carapace, so help out a little bit. This looks unbreakable.
It's the timing this hit too that was just so scary. You're right, like because it was 2 bases, it came so much sooner. If Kane had like another minute, he would have had more than enough forces. He would have had Roche speed, most importantly. But he's gonna try to break this nonetheless. Comes in from the right side, comes in from the south side, starts cleaning this up with a lot of the banelings, but it's mostly the Marines that are dying. And it's not the Marines that are the threat; it's the tanks, it's the Thors, and he's just barely not gonna be able to finish this off.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna lose the second base, and you know, 1 base lost. I really think he could have brought it back, but it looks like he's gonna lose the second base and his whole army. Looking like Polt's game.
Yeah, stuttering back with the Roaches trying to keep them alive. The tanks do advance forward. Roaches taking such heavy damage being armored units from these tanks. Again, no speed is what's really killing Kane here, because otherwise he would be on top of those tanks. But good game is going to be called. Polt, congratulations! Will be our first player into the round of 8. Now, of course, as you guys should know at this point with base rate TV tournaments. Oh,